Hello my friends and welcome back to another video. Happy Thanksgiving. I am pre-recording this video because it's Thanksgiving, so I'm spending it with my family who was able to come into town. Because I was posting on Thanksgiving, I was like, we should have like a very fall-esque video, especially because I really haven't done anything super fall-ish really with my channel, so I was like, this is the perfect time to do it. I am fighting a little bit of a cold, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds like way off or if I'm coughing or whatever else, but what I was planning for this video is I was thinking we could write like a Thanksgiving themed short story because it's fun to like switch things up. It's fun to get into the spirit, especially using your writing to like really get you in the mood of the season. So I was really thinking that we should do a Thanksgiving story. I have kind of some ideas playing through my head, but I was thinking we could work on that. I have this little embroidery kit that I really want to try that my mother-in-law got me from Hobby Lobby. So I was thinking we could kind of work with this and do this just because like it's very fall-esque like colors and stuff. So I'm not super familiar with embroidery, so this might be a little bit chaotic. And then I was thinking we can make a tea just because I feel like tea is very like fall-esque. I was also thinking we could get dressed in like a little fall cozy outfit. It is finally cooled down here in Arizona, so I'm very grateful for that. Today the temperature is 57 degrees right now, but the high is supposed to be 76. So right now it's pretty cool, so I was thinking we could get into like a cozy little fall outfit and sit outside and do our writing, just because those are like very fall things with our nice little drink. And yeah, just like really get into the fall spirit. So yeah, comment down below your Thanksgiving traditions, what you have planned for Thanksgiving, what you do really to get into the season. I know that Thanksgiving is kind of getting a little overshadowed by Christmas just because people are so excited for Christmas, which is very understandable. I definitely love Christmas as well, but I really want to like take some time to just be thankful for everything that has been going on, and just like really spend time with my family and enjoy Thanksgiving and some good quality time. So let us get ready for the day because I am still in my pajamas, but let's go put on a fall outfit and get a fun drink and sit down and do some writing. We are dressed, we have our stuff, and I'm all set up to write out here. I got my tea. I've been on such a, what is it called? London fog kick lately. I don't know why, but they're just hitting the spot. Like English breakfast, no, Earl Grey tea with a tiny bit of vanilla and some milk. So good. Absolutely obsessed. So that is my drink of choice. I have my laptop because something about short stories just says laptop to me. I think it's because you're just like working with a lot of words and rearranging a lot, and like I feel like short stories need a lot of tweaking in just like a short amount of time. and I feel like it's just a waste of paper to do them. Maybe like a rough draft on a piece of paper, but then like you have to type it up, and it's just a whole thing. So I have my laptop and I'm gonna work on that, which I don't normally write on. Like, you know, I'm a die-hard write on paper kind of girl, but short stories just like say laptop to me. So I'm gonna work on my laptop, and yeah. So I've kind of been brainstorming a story a little bit in my head. I don't know like the exact plot, and yeah, I don't know exactly where it's going, but I have some ideas. So I'm probably gonna jot down my ideas on paper just to like get a more like concise thought written down, just for like consistency. And it'll be nice to work on something else. I've kind of been grinding on my book, which I've been loving, but it's nice to like shift gears a little bit and work on something else for a change today. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit out here and write and type on my laptop, and hopefully it goes well. So my story is going really good, but I want to talk a little bit about like why short stories. And I feel like they're kind of underrated and not super popular. I know that like in school and stuff we had to write short stories for random things and as like English homework and stuff like that, but I really think like as a writer they are really important. I'm gonna say 4 things about short stories that I think are really important. Number 1 is I think that it is really important to change like what you're writing just for a little bit every once in a while. I know that working on my novel, it doesn't necessarily come as easily as I wish it did, and I feel like I've been working on it for a really long time, and that can be really discouraging, especially because like it's a really big project and I feel really passionately about it. And because of that, a lot of people I feel like really focus on like grinding it out and spending a lot of time on it, but I think that if you manage to step away from it and write something else that's really fun and random and is more for yourself than like the novel that you're working on, especially if like you're really unmotivated when it comes to your story, or you're really struggling to work on that next scene or whatever, wherever you're at, if you're kind of like slumping in your writing, I think that short stories are a really great way to get out of that. Number 2 is that they're so short. Like short stories are meant to be between roughly 1,000 to 7,000 words, and that's really not a lot. 1,000 words is maybe 2 or 3 pages, and being able to spend time on a short story and really finish it is a really big deal because it's a finished short story and it doesn't take you very long. And being able to finish a project, I feel like really like boosts our confidence as writers, especially as someone that's working on a novel. I feel a lot of pressure sometimes to like be like, oh, I need to finish, but it's gonna take a lot longer to finish a novel versus a short story. If I manage to finish a short story, then there's that confidence of, oh, I can finish things and like they can work out, and it kind of just like gives me a little bit of a boost in like my excitement about writing, being able to finish something. So number 3 is editing. Short stories need edited. Everything really needs edited. Everything needs read over again and like double checked and made sure that like it's how you want it. And I know for me personally, I have a novel that I've been editing and I hate editing it. It's so long and it's really hard to get through. But again, short stories are really short, and so the editing process for them is also going to be a lot shorter than editing a whole novel. But you're still getting that editing experience in because you're starting out with the rough draft of a short story. You're editing it a couple times tweaking things, changing things, and then polishing it up so that way you have a completed short story. And it's just kind of like a little change in pace, because especially if you've been writing like a rough draft of a novel and you switch over to a short story and you're able to write just a little bit of, or like you're able to write a little short story and you're able to edit it, the change of actually editing it just like uses a different part of your brain and can also like really help for when you are going to edit your bigger novel later on. And number 4 is a lot of short stories are just for fun. Like, we're writers, we have stories that we want to share, and yeah, I know I want to make it big, I want to get published, I want to be a New York Times bestseller, but like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, we're supposed to have passion in our writing, we're supposed to have real raw emotion in our writing, but like, we're supposed to enjoy it, at least to some extent. I know that every day, I definitely don't love picking up a pencil and writing for an hour or however long, but I do know that the stories and the characters and like it all coming alive in my brain is like a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. And so writing a short story, like, yeah, you can work towards a compilation of short stories, and maybe I want to do that one day too, but a lot of the time just writing like a single short story is just for fun, and it's enjoyable to like just like dive into that and enjoy the fun part of a short story. So if you're struggling with your writing, or if you're feeling like you're in a little bit of a writing slump, or if you're just a little bit tired with your whatever work you're working on, I encourage you to just pause, maybe for a day, maybe for 2 days, and work on a short story instead of whatever that bigger project you're on, just to have a little bit of a creative refresh, a little bit of a change in characters, a change in scenery, work on a different setting. Really like just tap into a short story for a day or two, and hopefully that will refresh your creative writing well. So I hope that this helped. I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to writing, but this is kind of my take on short stories because I do think that they're really beneficial. So I'm gonna go finish my short story, and then I'm gonna read it for you guys because why not? You know, it's just a fun short story that I'm writing for myself that I really wanted to share with you guys. So I'm gonna finish that, and then we're gonna read my short story. A Thanksgiving Short Story by Cabrini Sense. I brushed my hair and looked in the mirror. Orange was not my color, but the Belev family always wore orange on Thanksgiving. Needless to say, it was not one of my favorite traditions. Really, none of the Thanksgiving traditions were. "Elena, Aunt Martha is here," my little brother Zeke called into my room. "Okay," I yelled back. At least that would mean my cousin V was here. She was a couple years older than me, but it was a nice change for my brothers, and with her being an only child, she always said she loved the company. I took the old wooden stairs 2 at a time, down to find Aunt Martha and my mom chatting about the day's festivities. The scent of pumpkin pie wafted through the room, and I looked around. Aunt Martha must have seen me frown. "She's in the yard talking to your brothers." I allowed a small smile to spread across my face, a little embarrassed to be found out. I was relieved V didn't leave me to this boring day alone. I slid out the big front door before Mom could rope me into Thanksgiving prep. The cool November breeze blew across my face as I walked down the front steps and into the yard. V stood in the middle, laughing with my 2 older brothers, Oaken and Tom. "Hey, V," my voice came out small and hesitant. "Hi, Elena." She stepped over and gave me a hug before stepping back and frowning. "Orange is not your color, girl." "You're telling me." I looked down at the neon orange and camo hoodie that used to be Tom's. "How about we go up to your room?" V pointed to the door. "I have something for you." I eyed the Trader Joe's tote she held in her hand before leading the way back inside and up to my room. V was 21 and rocked her straight blue jeans and burnt orange zip-up. She had a black one-shouldered backpack and pumpkin pie earrings. She was always smiling and good at including others. She was so cool, and I was always scared that one year she would just decide that she was too much older than me and not show up. She was like the big sister I never had. "I found these at a flea market and immediately thought of you." V pulled a pair of orange canvas low-top shoes from the Trader Joe's bag. They were beautiful and sophisticated and close to the color of my hair. "Will they work?" I asked. "If you pair them with something neutral and wear them with confidence." V smiled and plopped down on my bed. My smile appeared again. The shoes were perfect, and they might finally be the way I could pull off orange. I have an idea. I went to look through my closet, leaving V flopped back on the bed. Don't you just love Thanksgiving? She spoke out to the world. I wasn't sure she exactly wanted a response. Would it break her heart if she knew I didn't? I stepped out of the closet in a pair of light denim jeans and a gray-colored cardigan over a white top. You look so stylish, V beamed at me. I did a little twirl in front of my full-length mirror before nodding. Thank you for the shoes. You're welcome, V replied, and pointed towards the chair. I took a seat and V started playing with my hair. I'm not the biggest fan of Thanksgiving, I whispered. V stopped for a moment, but it was so fast that I could have imagined it. And why is that? She asked. Well, I had kind of been thinking about it all morning. Not that I thought anyone would want to hear my thoughts and bring down the mood. The food is kind of bland. Like, turkey is fine, but I'm not really a fan of anything else, even the pumpkin pie. The activities are meh. I don't really like football, and we don't do fun crafts like other people. Plus, who wants to be so full it ruins the rest of your day? Everyone kind of just sits around and does nothing. It's boring. That's a very fair observation, and I see where you're coming from. But today, let's try to be even more observant. Be open to seeing things from a new angle. I crinkled my eyebrows and looked at her in the mirror. We finished working my hair into a messy fishtail braid that looked cute, but also like it was no effort. I guess for me, it was no effort. She saw me looking at her and laughed. Come on. We headed back downstairs and into the kitchen. V stopped outside the doorway, and I almost ran into her. She nodded towards the kitchen. I peered around her and saw my mom and Aunt Martha. They were laughing. The kitchen was a bit of a disaster. Gravy bubbled in the oven, and the house smelled like turkey. The cans of green beans were scattered around, and a bowl of stuffing was laying on its side, spilling onto the counter. Good thing we made too much stuffing, my mom laughed. Yeah, and I like the change in pace to make a huge meal, Martha spoke through her chuckles. And I like that we get to do it together, my mom smiled at her sister, and a warm feeling went through me. Once V looked satisfied, we headed out to the front yard. My 3 brothers were playing football with the neighbor boys. I rolled my eyes, but before I could tell V I was going back inside, my dad came out the front door and jogged into the yard. Where's your old man? He asked Isaac, the oldest of the boys next door. He'll be out in a few, he responded. My dad then went on to stretch and warm up while the boys continued to throw the football. I've been practicing all year for this, I heard my little brother Zeke whisper. Sit, V pointed to the chair next to me. I reluctantly obeyed. Do we have to watch the game? I already told you I'm not a huge fan of football. Yes, we have to stay. Plus, didn't you hear Zeke? We have to support him. I rolled my eyes and started watching a bird hopping around the side of the yard. Mr. Hudson strode out in a green velvet tracksuit. You're going down, Blev, he called. My dad rolled his eyes before turning to the boys. Let's pick teams. The boys lined up and Mr. Hudson faced my dad on the opposite side of the group. Coin, please, Isaac. Mr. Hudson held out his hand. Isaac handed his dad what I assumed was a quarter. Call it in the air, Mr. Hudson hollered. Tails, my dad called. Heads, Mr. Hudson saw. Isaac, you're with me. Oaken, my dad said. Liam, Mr. Hudson picked his second-born. Zeke, my dad smiled. And Gus. We should have just done Hudson's versus Blev's if this is how teams turned out, Mr. Hudson laughed. Gus would have totally been the better pick, I heard Oaken mutter to himself. My dad frowned. We'll start in 5, he said before following my brothers to the far side of the yard. They looked like a real team, all matching in orange. Listen up, he called, and my brother circled around him. We are a team. You may have wanted other people on it, he stared directly at Oaken, but these are the people that you got put with. And more importantly, they're your brothers, and you need to support each other. It's Thanksgiving, and I want you to be grateful for each other. And in return, I want you to show your fellow brother that you're worth being grateful for. Understood? All 3 of my brothers nodded. I turned to V, who looked like she wiped a tear from her eye. Are you crying? I laughed. It was just so moving, she fake sobbed. And little Zeke got chosen? I'm here for the feels. I laughed. I think it's going to be an exciting game. And you didn't even want to watch it, she smirked, settling deeper into her seat. The Hudsons made a touchdown every time they had the ball in the first quarter, which put our team behind. After we intercepted the ball in the second quarter and heard a very moving speech by V at halftime, we were tied by the beginning of the fourth quarter. The boys were all covered in mud and looked tired. My mom brought out mandarins and Gatorade for everyone, and we were anxious to see who would take the game. Vi and I were on the edge of our seats. With 5 minutes on the clock, I stared at my dad's little team and listened anxiously for him to call break. They had just gotten possession of the ball, and if they could keep it for long enough and get a touchdown, they would win. At 40 seconds, we were at 4-10. "Hike," my dad called, and my brothers spread out. Little Zeke was in the end zone, and no one was guarding him. My dad threw the ball, and little Zeke reached for it. It bounced between his hands, but he curled around it and landed on the floor. Touchdown! My dad and brothers won the game. Vi and I stood and cheered while my brothers hoisted up little Zeke like a trophy. Who knew backyard football could get so intense? Then again, this was our front yard. While we were all celebrating, my mom poked her head out the front door and called for dinner. "You boys better clean up quickly before the turkey gets cold. I don't want mud in my dining room." My dad and brothers waved at the neighbors before going in to change. I sat back in my seat and smiled. The cool fall breeze blew some leaves across the yard. "That was amazing," I said, smiling and watching them. "Yeah," Vi agreed. "But it would never happen without Thanksgiving." "Yeah, it would," I countered. "Nope. Your dad said that the only time he'll play football with your brothers is Thanksgiving." "Nuh-uh," I argued. "I see Dad throw the ball with the boys in the yard all the time." "But that's not a real game," Vi remarked. I frowned. I guess she was right. Throwing the football in the yard didn't equal the outstanding performance we saw today. "Are you girls coming?" my Aunt Martha asked, poking her head out the door. "Yeah," Vi replied. We were following Aunt Martha to the dining room when Vi said, "Elena doesn't like Thanksgiving." "What?" I gawked at her. "That's not true," I squeaked, but even I wasn't convinced by my own voice. "That's okay, dear," Aunt Martha replied. "I don't care much for Thanksgiving either, but I love cooking with your mom, even though she tends to make a mess." We all laughed. "But if it means I get to cook with your mom, then that means I love Thanksgiving." Once we got to the table, we sat down and I looked around. My brothers were all cleaned up and laughing. My parents looked pleased. Aunt Martha smiled at my mom, and Vi looked like she was soaking in the sight of the food. I was getting that warm, fuzzy feeling that makes every interview feel happy. I loved being with my family, and good food could only help. If my family loved Thanksgiving and its weird traditions, then I could love Thanksgiving too. Well, that's my story, so let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. It's a little exciting and a little bit scary to share it with you guys, just because, I don't know, there's something really vulnerable about sharing your work with others. So, I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you have any comments, critiques, leave them down below and I will look at them and potentially take them. I know it wasn't perfect, but like I said earlier, it was just supposed to be for fun. But that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That really, really helps a lot for my channel. If you're looking for other places to see me, I do post on Instagram fairly frequently. My Instagram is @videosbycabrini. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you have any recommendations of videos that you'd like to see in the future, please drop them down below. I love the suggestions and I want to post content that you guys really enjoy. I will see you guys either on Sunday or next Thursday for another video. Bye guys.